Who you got? Who wins game one?
Skip, everything is really predicated. I won't overcomplicate this. Everything is really predicated for the Suns with their backcourt. Devin Booker shoots better than 42%. They're undefeated in the postseason. Chris Paul has a positive plus-minus in the postseason. They're undefeated in the postseason. So everything is really predicated on that. Yes, DeAndre Ayton can do really well in the pick and roll. Both teams are very, the difference is the Bucks are pick and roll and they can pick and pop because Brook Lopez, he does have range. Ayton is really, he can pick and pop, but he prefers to dive to the basket, flush it home on you. So really everything, when you really look at this, now that Giannis is out, this is really going to be a backcourt series. It's Middleton, Holiday versus Booker and CP3. Who are you willing to put your money on? Who's shown you throughout the playoffs they've been more consistent? I'm taking the Suns in that matchup. Now, I heard what Jenny said that the sport book said the bench and they get their favorite in 3 of the 5 positions. I get all that. But my eye test tells me is that the Suns have played a little bit better, a little bit more consistent than the Bucks. Now, that's not to say the Bucks don't have a chance to win this ball game, because I do believe they can win this ball game. But they're going to need for Middleton to play a lot better. Skip, if you go back and look at his first 2 games in both series, go back against the Nets, go back against looking at Atlanta. He did not play well, and they got blown. We really, a lot of people thought the series was over when they played the Nets because of how bad they got beaten and how poorly Middleton played. Fast forward, Atlanta, the exact same thing, and then he turns it on. He's extremely streaky. And the one thing we know about streaky players in the NBA, if they get it going, it does not matter. See, it used to be the great players were the only ones that could get streaky hot. But we saw Terrence Mann get hot, Skip, and go get 39. We saw Middleton go get 23 and a quarter, 20 and a quarter. So, but for me, I'm basing everything on the backcourt. If Chris Paul and Devin Booker plays well, they're going to win this. Take advantage of Ayton, Skip. He's a gazelle. Let him get out on the break. We know Chris Paul wants to control the pace. He's not really looking to get up and down. But I believe he's going to pick and choose his spots and where he can take advantage of Ayton's foot speed, getting up and down the court faster than Brook Lopez. Lopez is going to really have to stay out of foul trouble, Skip, because Portis, as big as he is, he can't do anything with Ayton. So it's going to be incumbent upon him to stay out of foul trouble. I'm also looking to see the matchup, Monty Williams. How do you play Portis? Because really, Bridges and Crowder, they're a little smallish side. You might have to go Saric. You might see a little bit more Saric going up against Portis than what we're normally used to seeing him. But everything for me is predicated on the backcourt. And with that being said, I'm going to take the Suns. I'm going to take the Suns to even cover tonight.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Suns big by more than 6.
I got Suns by 9.
Okay, got it. So, throughout my career, I've relied on my instinct, and it's usually paid off. And my instinct is screaming at me right now that the Milwaukee Bucks have a great opportunity to steal a game tonight at Phoenix. Obviously, almost certainly, there'll be no Giannis. I'm going to say certainly there's going to be no Giannis.
Right.
But I don't know that for sure because they are being very circumspect, almost sneakily so, because it's just the way we saw the Clippers do to the Suns with Kawhi. They just kept saying day to day, day to day, we don't know, we don't know.
Right.
Well, I told you, I heard it from a very good source. He needs surgery, and he's out.
Right.
But they kept saying, well, we're not sure, we're not sure. And it could be that Giannis is already been declared internally out for the whole series. I don't know.
Right.
But the point is, it sounded like yesterday, even though he did some very minor
on court
work, they called it court work on the side, I think. I don't think he's going to play tonight.
Well, he on the side. Even if he does play, what's he going to give you?
I don't know. So it's just hard to know about the knee because they're not even saying sprained or bruised or any. We have no idea what is going on inside a hyperextended knee. So because there's no Giannis, this is the classic case of what if Phoenix, having already been coronated, because most people are picking Phoenix. In fact, I don't know anybody who's picking Milwaukee. Maybe I missed somebody somewhere. Maybe one of the media people in Milwaukee are picking Milwaukee. But this is the great opportunity to steal a game and make it an uphill battle for the Suns the rest of the series.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because clearly, Milwaukee just won 2 pretty big games without Giannis.
Right.
And obviously, Trey was also limited and out the one game, but limited in Game 6. So it's hard to quantify just how how impressive the Bucks really were against the Hawks. But I thought they were very impressive. I liked the way the ball moved without Giannis because they became a 5-man offense instead of a 1-man show in the last couple of games. And I think that could serve them well tonight because they're playing with high confidence and high momentum coming right out of Game 6, take a day off and go right into Game number 1 at Phoenix. And I love the fact that Middleton had the explosive quarters, the 20 in the fourth quarter and the 23 in the third quarter at Atlanta, which has not been his MO. He's always been all-star at home and disaster on the road. And all of a sudden, he had 2 breakout, at least quarters, at Atlanta, which could serve him well at Phoenix.
Well, also what serves him well, what happened in the past 2 series? They lost the opening game. And they mentally tough. They think about it. You lost the opening game in your home building. You did. When you had home court against the Hawks.
They did.
So, and you got blown out both games. You got blown out on the road by the Nets. So they're not going to be, Skip, even if they lose this game. It's not like, well, they were supposed to. They're home. They're not going to be deterred by that.
So now I'm to what has vexed and hexed me my whole career. And I have termed it self-defeating prophecy. By that, I mean, if I think somebody's going to sneak up on somebody else, if I voice it publicly, trust me on this. You know this. These players watch this show. Right now, they just might be hanging on my every word. That could include Chris Paul. That could be Devin Booker. And they do have some dog in both of them. And it could include an emerging DeAndre Ayton, who's got some fire in him. And if all 3 happen to be watching me right now pick Milwaukee, they are liable, all 3, to sit back in their chair and say, oh, yeah? Well, bleep you, Skip Bayless, watch this. And that's what I call self-defeating prophecy. And I reflect back to a couple of games earlier in my career in Dallas. Big Redskin rivalry games. I got to use the old nickname because it was Cowboys-Redskins. It was the best rivalry in sports, 82-83. This is a little before your time, but you'll probably remember. On opening night at Old Texas Stadium, on Monday Night Football, Joe Theismann came in, and I just thought that the Redskins were rolling, and they ended up rolling all the way to the Super Bowl, if you remember, in 82. But on opening night, I thought...
That was strike year, too, wasn't it?
I believe it was the strike year. I hope I'm not confusing 82 and
87.
Yeah, 87.
87 was strike year also.
But the point was that I picked the Redskins at that point, Washington football team, obviously, to upset the Cowboys. Well, it's in the paper that morning, and they have all day to read it. And so the Cowboys read it, and they, good Lord, if you remember this game, they intercepted Joe Theismann 5 times and sang happy birthday to him. The whole crowd sang happy birthday because it was his birthday in early September. And the Cowboy defensive backs got in a big huddle in the postgame locker room and chanted my name because they all credited me with inspiring them to win the game.
You know how this works. You know if you write for the team, you can't pick against them because they actually think you're a part of the team.
Okay, well then the very next year, later in the year, it was December 11th, Washington came to Dallas, and it was a huge game featuring Joe Theismann and John Riggins for all the marbles. And I picked the home team to roll 31-10. And guess what the score was? 31-10 the other way. And the Redskins all credited me in the postgame locker room with inspiring them to win the game. So my point on this is, yeah, I do have this gut feeling that somehow, some way, that Milwaukee's just good enough to go win this game tonight because it's hard on Chris Paul because he got coronated. It's like, oh, Chris broke through, and everybody's so happy for him. It's like they have already been crowned as the champion, and they should win this.
I think that's what it is, Skip. I don't know. I think everybody is picking the Suns because they want this for Chris Paul so bad.
I got it.
It's not to say Milwaukee isn't likable because they have likable players, but I just think Chris Paul is just he's just the average. He's an average-sized man still playing a large man's game.
I totally agree, and I will be very happy for him if he does break all the way through and wins this ring because his career deserves that conclusion to it. If in fact this is for all I know, they're going to be good enough to do it again next year. But right now he broke through, and I told you, Lil Wayne was telling me the other day, he's so happy. He's just found his bliss in the NBA Finals. And Wayne's point was, even if they lose, Chris is going to be okay. Well, Yeah, we get that, and we talked about it yesterday. But no, he needs to finish this off. And and I know Chris wants in his heart of hearts, he wants this ring because you can't get this close and not close this deal.
Yeah, there's no guarantee you're going to be back.
No.
There's no guarantee because you got a lot of breaks. A lot of things have to go well for you to win a championship.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if any team if they win this championship, would have had more things go right for the Phoenix Suns than the Phoenix Suns have. When Bron is nicked up in AD, and you get the Nuggets without Murray.
Thank you. That's the point of this. Yes. I sit back and I say, wait a second. Look how many breaks they got against the Lakers because AD goes down, then he tries to come back and play, and he couldn't go, and LeBron never was quite right.
Correct.
And they won it pretty easily in 6 games, right?
Yep.
And then there was no Jamal Murray
swept the Nuggets
in Denver, and they swept them. And Chris in the closeout game was sensational. But then here comes the Clippers, and there's no Kawhi.
Right.
And so you get them, and then all of a sudden, Marcus Morris in the first couple of games had some weird knee injury, and he was very hobbled and limited early. And then for the last 2 games, they lose Big Zoo.
Correct.
Okay, well, you're getting break upon break upon break.
Right.
How good are you really? I can't tell because in this postseason, injury-racked as it's been, how do you rank? How do you decipher what's really happening? It's hard to really draw a bead on it.
It is, and you get another break. You might play the first 2 to 3 games without the other team's best player.
I'm just saying, and he's a 2-time MVP.
Yes.
Now, I keep telling you, I like to watch them on offense better without him.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not discounting how great he is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he is a force. Unfortunately, he becomes such a force. He's a one-man show for them all too often. And he has flamed out and gone up in smoke all too often in big playoff games when they, as they say in 8, and used the phrase yesterday, you have to build a wall against Giannis because they're all talking and anticipating that he's going to play sooner than later. And I get that. But, again, I just like their vibe better. I like their unity better without him, at least at the first. What if they could steal this one of these two?
That would be huge if they would steal it. But, Skip, I just think the thing is they have to play different. It's kind of like a team when you lose your quarterback. Well, all of a sudden, you can't run the Tampa. I don't care how good Tampa is offensively. They lose Tom Brady. They're not calling the same game plan. You're going to run the ball a little more, and you're probably – because speak in my terms, we lost John Elway. Well, TD yards per game went up because it's different. So they have to play different. Middleton now, all of a sudden, he does not have to defer. All of a sudden, Holiday, he's the true second option as opposed to being the third option.
And you know what? They both look like all-stars in the last 2 games because they have been all-stars. And they were free to just let it go. Be you. And usually they defer. They watch a lot because he's going to dribble a lot and try to get free in the middle.
But they
Giannis.
need the ball. The difference between them and Kevin Durant went to Golden State and didn't miss a beat because Kevin Durant don't need the ball in his hand. They need the ball in order to be what we saw them over the last 2 games, become all-star. Well, Middleton was an all-star, but you see how well he played. Well, everybody can't play off the ball like a Kevin Durant. Middleton needs the ball. Holiday needs the ball. But if I get a ball to Giannis, Skip, what am I going to do? I'm going to stand around and watch. I ain't going to set no screen for him. I'm going to watch. Okay, Giannis, pull it out. Okay, Euro step, dunk, lay it up.
Okay, and if he gets fouled, he goes to the line, and the crowd goes crazy because they start quick counting him down.
10, 9,
right? and he's doing through his whole routine. He's rehearsing, right? And the ref's holding the ball, and you're saying, what are you doing?
Yeah, the ref.
They're just giving him the ball, make him shoot.
Right. I think they're going to pass a rule, Skip. They're going to say, look, we can't let him just go through the motion, take 5 seconds to do that. Once he gets to the line, throw him the ball. Don't be letting him do all those motions.
So then he goes 3, 2, 1, and he shoots an air ball.
Right.
After all that, he shoots an air ball, and he shot 2 the last time we saw him and 1 from 3.
Right.
This takes the life and the heart out of a team. As great as he is, he's sometimes hard to win with at this level if you're doing that. So that's why I just like the feel of this team right now coming into this game because Middleton can just go off on anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he had a hot hand tonight and gets a little help from Drew and Bobby Portis is becoming a force. And if you go back to Brooklyn, Brook, and you low post him where he can do a little bit of damage and then rim protect on the other end, Well, now you're talking about a pretty good basketball team.
Well, it's going to be a little different because Ayton is a little bit bigger than Clint Capella.
Yep.
And you're not going to have the size advantage of posting. So I don't know how much he's going to be willing to post. But I do think this is the Bucks are a big team. And the Suns are going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass because you look up and Tucker has got 7-8 rebounds. You're like, how the hell he get 7-8 rebounds?
How about 10 rebounds?
Yeah,
Yep.
and then you got Lopez, who's not a rebounder. He gets 6 or 7. Middleton hunts the glass. Holiday gets on the glass. So you're going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass, limiting their second chance points, and doing a great job of getting out. Ayton is an advantage over Lopez. Every big that the Bucks could possibly throw at him, he has an advantage. Let him use that advantage. Don't be afraid, Chris, to push the tempo.
So the last guy's P.J. Tucker you just mentioned.
Yeah.
He's starting to show me championship-style guts and glue.
Yeah.
Like you just want him on your team because he'll defend.
Yes.
He'll attack the glass,
Yes.
offense and defense.
Right.
And you don't think those three perimeter players for them, P.J., Holiday, Middleton, they will guard.
Oh, they can defend.
Like all three of them will guard like crazy. So I kind of like the matchup. Right. You can't stop Book.
Right.
You probably can't stop Chris tonight,
right.
the role he's on. but I'm going to remind everybody about that role. Remember what happened? He came back from COVID, and he played games 3, 4, and 5, and they lost 2 of them, and they almost lost the middle game because it was 84-80, and neither team, Clippers, Suns, could make a shot in the fourth quarter. Remember that?
Yep.
They combined him to 17 straight shots. Well, so Chris, in those 3 games leading up to Game 6, he had shot 32% from the field. He was 19 of 60. Well, that's horrendously bad. From 3, he was 2 of 16. That's 13%. That's even worse.
Correct.
And in the fourth quarters of those games, he was even worse. He was 5 of 19 in the fourth quarters and 1 of 7 from 3 going into Game 6.
Right.
And then it went all the way down to 1:43 left of the third quarter, and Batum hits a 3 to cut it to 7. And Chris said, "No, I refuse." Even at Staples, which is home away from home, right?
Yep.
He just said, "No, I got this," and he scores 8 points down the stretch of the third quarter, last 143. And then he adds 19 in the fourth quarter. That's 27 points he scored like that, and in that stretch, he made 5 out of 5 3-point shots, and he's not a great 3-point shooter.
Right.
Well, how do you explain that? I don't know. He sort of went Chris Middleton out of nowhere, right? Except it really mattered because it was the right time to do that. It was the greatest game and greatest stretch of his career.
We believe that if both backcourts play to their potential, okay, now they're role players. It was an accident. Giannis had to get hurt before Bud was willing to put Bobby Portis in the game. Skip, it was kind of like Steve Kerr just stumbled upon that lineup with Iggy.
He did.
He stumbled in an accident. He's like, let's try this.
Well, I think it was desperation.
It was.
Well, they're down 2-1 and at LeBron.
You end up going two down to one because that third game, Skip, is when the Cavs had that big lead. They inserted Iggy and they came back. But it was the start of something that, you know what, this is the lineup we need to go with. Well, Giannis getting hurt, they inserted Portis. And we saw what he's been able to do.
At 6'10", 250.
Right.
Okay.
So can Porter still give you that kind of production? Can he still give you 12 and 8 while the backcourt does what they do? And can Brook Lopez continue playing as well as he had?
Okay. So when you break this down, it doesn't seem like a mismatch to me even without Giannis.
No, it's
right?
not. It's not. No,
okay.
It's not.
But you were adamant you like them to win by 9.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
But that's the runaway momentum, and it might be somewhat prisoner of the moment momentum because of what you just saw Chris do in Game 6.
Well, I don't expect that because I still believe that's the greatest game Chris Paul has ever played.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not even close because all it did was get him to his first finals.
Right. It just seems like every big shot he was willing to take and make. But, Skip, I just think the thing is that, and I understand that Book and CP3 is going to be a formidable matchup with Middleton and Holiday because both of those guys can defend. As a matter of fact, of all 4 of those guys, Booker is the weakest defender. He's really not a defender. He's a guy that can go get buckets. But guys can take advantage of him. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, guys were taking advantage of Book.
Yep.
Well, you're going to have to be on your best behavior because Middleton has shown he can give you 12, but he can also give you 50.
He can.
Holiday can go get 30 because we saw him do that. So Book is going to have to dig in a little bit more defensively. and still give you the high 20s to maybe 30. But I just like the way the Suns are playing. I like what I saw from Jay Crowder, because up until Game 6, Jay Crowder had not played well.
Huge.
And then Game 6, every big three that he needed to take and make, he made it. Yes,
he did.
Yes,
he set the table. And Chris brought the dessert.
Yes,
that's what happened.
Yes.
So in the end, I'm going to go on record that I like Milwaukee to win this game 110 to 105. Now forget that I said that, okay? And if you're watching Suns, I didn't mean it. It was all a joke. I didn't really predict that. Just forget that I even was on TV today.
Well, see, the thing is, Skip, I didn't go quite that high score because Chris Paul is not one of these guys that get the tempo up and down. Because if you look at it, with the exception of the last game, Skip, points were hard to come by. I mean, they got to 130, but it took an exceptional ball game from Chris Paul. They were in the 90s. Most of the games were in the 90s, maybe even, I mean, you had an 84-80 game. You had a 96, 98 type of a ball game. So I think I went 105 to 96. That's what I'm thinking the score is going to be.
Okay. So I'm quietly picking.
So we got some due on it.
We have no due. I'm not. I'll just jinx it. I'm not going to jinx my own pick. I already did enough just to blurt it out publicly.
You do realize that you can't go to Vegas at the gaming table and just sit up there and play for fun. You got to bet something. Yeah, I got the Suns, you got the Bucks. We got to bet something.
Hey, Ernestine and I play like penny slots. Do they still have those? I think they do.
They don't. Look here, you just can't pull the thing with nothing. You got to put something in there. Okay, well, bet penny then.
Okay, bet you a drop of dew. Nope. You know what? I don't even like the Bucks, but I like them better. They're almost rootable without Giannis. Okay. With Giannis, I just can't even.
Okay, well, they're not going to have Giannis in this game one, so let's put two cases on it.
No, well, I'm taking the. Are you going to give me the 6?
I give you the 5.
Well, it's 6.
No, it's 5.
It's 6. I just checked right before we came on the air.
No, Jenny said 5.5.
Well, I got 6. It's 6. I just heard this from the controller.
It's 6.
Right again.
Well, I'll give you 6.
Okay, thank you for one case.
Okay,
I'll do it.
One case, no pennies on this one?
That was a joke.
Yeah,
I didn't really mean any of it.
Don't worry.
You've been waiting all your life, book.
Skip wasn't actually on TV today. I like that. That's funny.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.